official MC capacity, but it did occur to me as the group gathered that I have the right to say something first because I believe I've known Clipper longer than anybody else here. Unless somebody has challenges that Joan may have.
What about Clipper was about 5.
Well, all right. If I don't get it, I'll know you the longest. I get it because it's my house. It's my house, and we have people who come from as far as Chicago, New York, Maine. So we do have a prepared part of this evening's facilities. And
if I remember how nice I've always been.
Actually, you'll be shocked to know I'm going to be very nice. Ellie asked each of us the invitation to have one moment to comment on, and that was very easy for me. No, I'm actually going to surprise all of you by starting off on a serious note. Clipper and I, a number of years ago, were roommates. Now, I can figure that out. That was before he went to Choate, so it was something like 1957. Clipper and I were roommates, and as roommates do, I was 12, he was 14. Talking one night, I being the younger brother, I was complaining about how so-and-so down the street had a better deal or a better car or a better something. I don't know if Clipper will remember this, but this is a moment that's significant. Clipper said to me, Bobby, it's not important where you are in life, it's how far you come from where you started. And that shut me up. As I understand,
It was the last time anybody did.
As I understand, at 12, I didn't shut up. But I remember that moment. So, with everybody here gathered, let me just observe that now, 35 years later, I look at Clipper and Ellie, who had the courage and the wisdom to find the life for them in Chicago that was the right life. And I look at Eric, and I look at Tim, I look at Andrew, and I look at this whole group, and I look at 10 of the next generation, the grandchildren. And my only comment tonight is, Clipper, to you, because nobody did it better than what you said to me in 1957. That's my happy birthday. Now, I know that some other people have prepared remarks. We also have multimedia, which will come a little later. But I encourage anyone else who has something to say, kind or ribald, to...
I do. And this is it. It is so wonderful to see you again. May it not be as long before we do it some more.
You're here.
I got a few words to say. As I was thinking what I would say, it was a little silly to be talking to Bobby and David. So I'm really aiming my remarks at the 10 grandchildren here. And I'm going to mainly be talking about things that happened when Clipper was around your age, or younger, some of you. I've known Clipper since we moved into the New Canaan frontier from Darien in 3rd grade. And it was no time at all between Clipper's, the Mifflin house, and our house. There's this big many-acre field of field grass. And there was no time at all before there was a track worn. And that track remained very well worn over about an 8 or 10 year period as when Clipper and I finally got out and went away to school, as David and Chico, our younger brothers, wore the same track in the same way as we had. It was really a wonderful Livingston interaction. I remember trips going with the Niffen family on schooners or yawls. You'll have to tell me what they were, Clipper.
I've heard of John and that.
that your folks had rented. I remember going on ski trips, many hour over treacherous roads to get up to Stowe. And I remember Clipper, I think, was born knowing how to ski. I don't know if Tim, Eric, and Andrew, he still skis as well as he used to, but I think he was born knowing how to ski. He was always a much better skier than I was, and no matter how much I tried later on, I never could keep up with him. But that's all right, he never could skate. So.
He doesn't eat as much either.
That's right. He doesn't eat as much. So I spent a whole lot of time over at the Niffen household. I remember Niff and his sense of humor, senior Niff, Clip's dad, always a perennial star in the Town Players, which was a very professional theatrical group in town. There was mom, who was the most stylish, wonderful lady, and such taste, way ahead of her time, certainly advanced for New Canaan. And I know if the two of them were here now, looking around this room, they would be just thrilled at what's happening in here. Nobody could possibly be prouder than having a look around this room from their point of view. I remember making a mint, selling lemonade at the foot of at the foot of the different driveway for their house.
Who made all the lemonade?
I remember waiting for the bus at the end of Turtleback and going to center school with Clipper. There was a bully in our class at center school. I don't know if Clipper remembers his name, but I certainly do. His name Tommy Enright. And he was about, he must have repeated 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th grade about 4 or 5 times, because by 5th and 6th grade he was shaving. And he was a lot bigger than we were. And John Bliss and the others of us who weren't very big had learned how to, when Tommy Enright did something, said something, which was always outrageous, just to go along with it and to put up with it. But Clipper never quite did. There were a series of battles between Clipper and Tommy Enright, which I will always remember. And looking back over that, I think it was Clipper just couldn't deal with putting up with Tommy Enright. And I think probably looking back that was the first clue of that Clipper really functioned even back then on kind of a higher ethical or spiritual plane than I did. And it became clearer as life went on.
Getting a little heavy here, Phil.
Yeah.
We'll lighten it up a little later on.
And then more than anything, I remember over the years, just Clipper as being just the best friend a fellow could have. And so I'd just like to make a toast to my really closest friend since 3rd grade, Clipper.
Well, I'll throw this in. This doesn't go back quite as far as the other stories. During my courtship of Mary, which many of you might know, it lasted about 25 or 30 years. One of the ploys that I came up with to secure her attention was to help her move from Minneapolis, where she was at the time, back to Philadelphia. So I got myself out to Minnesota, and we rented this truly massive Ryder U-Haul, and packed it up with whatever. And the route was to come back to Philadelphia via visiting Clipper and Ellen in Chicago. And they had just bought this house in Wheaton about an hour before. Yeah, very abusive. Anyway, so in this massive truck, the route goes well down to Wheaton, and on time, no problem. And we're just pulling into Clipper's driveway, and the loyal brother that he was, we got there just about in time. He came out, and there's Clip pulling in, and for those of you who never saw this house in Wheaton, it had a little bit of outside the kitchen, a little bit of an overhang over the driveway. Nice idea. So we're just pulling in, and then Clipper comes out and he starts waving. We wave back. I must have had the air conditioner or the radio or something. I couldn't hear anything. I just saw Clipper frantically waving like this.
Welcome.
So we're glad to see him, and we wave back. And I throw it in a second, and we're pulling up, and I get closer and closer, and Clipper. I did, in fact, say to Clipper, boy, he's really glad to see you. So anyway, I'm sure you know what happened. You hear the sound of timber being ripped from the joist, and so to this day, in a way, it's Clipper's fault because he should have had one of those signs on his.
Clearance dog.
Right, caution vehicles over 14 feet. That's on his new place. Anyway, but the point of the story is Clipper is such a breathtakingly nice guy that he still welcomed me into his house. I would have pulled out a shotgun. So it speaks quite well of him, this little piece. That was
Any other well-chosen remarks?
I have very few well-chosen. In pondering a fond moment with Clipper, I really couldn't come up with one, and then one that was classic. And then I thought back to the fact that being the compulsive person I am, I have saved letters of Clipper. So for the last 3 weeks, I've been going through all the letters I have. I probably have one from each and every one of you. They've just sent you one. And I found a collection of letters by Clipper. The first one, it dates back to 1966. First one I found, and probably more than that. That letter was helping me. I'd written to Clipper, he was in Monrovia, and I was having love problems. Jimmy Ackerley. We all know Connie during the Jimmy Ackerley days. Clipper wrote me back this wonderful letter about love, romance, everything he learned. And the last 2 weeks I've been reading letter after letter from Clipper Niffen. And what has run true blue throughout it all is the continuity, consistency from this wonderful older brother who has always been there for me, giving love, giving advice, giving understanding, empathy, everything he had to this floundering little sister, whether it be love, whether it be dropping out of college, whether it be questioning my days as a beginning teacher when he compared his beginning days as a teacher in Monrovia, whether it be planning a wedding, whether it be Saturn times, car accidents, divorces, whatever it be. Clipper was always there, and I hope he enjoys as much as I have reading 27 years.
Can't be 27 years. That's too many.
Any volunteers before we revert to?
I guess there's a little bit of a pattern going on here, so perhaps being the youngest, I can speak a little bit.
Break it.
First, I also want to point out part of the pattern was brevity. Hey, honey.
Solar wind.
Let me think about that for a second. I have one brief story which in many ways represents to me the very beginning of Clipper and Ellie's marriage. Shortly after they were married, I used to spend a lot of time at their apartment because Clipper was, after all, my legal guardian. And the first Thanksgiving after they were married, I remember playing in the driveway, and I was playing with a tennis ball or something, and I'd come back from Deerfield with my vacation, and Ellie was working at IBM, and she came running home. She said, "Chris, at the local IGA, if you buy a turkey over 30 pounds, you can get it for 49 cents a pound." Now, this is a no-now story. Being a senior at Deerfield, this really didn't mean a lot to me. If she had said 12 bucks a pound or 12 cents a pound, I really wouldn't have carried it away. So I had my tennis ball, and I kind of looked at Ellie, and she was carrying this huge. And she kind of shrugged. I kind of shrugged and said, "Great help." So I looked back at my fruit bowl. And about 10 minutes later, Clipper comes in a blue Fiat. And he comes out of the car and he says, "Chris, Ellie's going to be so proud of me. At the local IGA, if you buy a turkey over 30 pounds, you can get it for 49 cents a pound." And he pulls out the car and the seat. And I shrugged my shoulders and I said, "Wow. You're going to have an awful lot of turkey." Ellie was offering turkey Tetris the following May. I mention that story because it's remarkably funny, but it's also indicative of how these two individuals think alike. Their efficiency in everything they do is blissful, if we go back to the early days. And one of my earliest memories, when things were in their darker days, was I would look at these big families, the Livingstons and other families that I knew in New Canaan, and said, "Why can't we have a big, happy family like they do?" In many ways, that was a young child still looking from his own perspective. But I always wanted to have a big, happy family. Well, all the things that passed in their course, the one thing that I remember through it all was Clipper's maturity, and I can say that now 25 years later. At the age of 12, I didn't really come across some maturity. And his efforts to maintain a cohesive unit of 5 individuals. And here we are on his 50th birthday, and I looked at 10 grandchildren, I looked at 5 individuals, and I looked at a family that is exactly what I wanted when I was 12. And I owe that to Clipper, but also to Ellie, who has become a mainstay in his family. And that's the best gift any of us could have. So to the 10 little ones,
They're not so little either.
they're not so little. From my perspective, and I will just say this, that I was younger than Eric is today when my mother died. And I will say this, that what you see today and right now is as good as it gets. And a lot of that is due to you, Eric, Timothy, and Andrew, to your father. And so thank you.
Okay.
I'll stand up. If Chris is the youngest one in the group to speak, then I guess I'm next because I'm the oldest. And I'm looking around and I am the senior member of this Niffen Fish Swan group that's gathered here and various more. And like Connie, I sort of did a little trip down memory lane as I was thinking about this and thinking how many times we were at your house, and I think one of my fondest memories, I think, of you two boys, Bobby and Cliff, when you were young, wrestling. You two were always wrestling on the ground. Do you remember that? You were
We're
always.
doing an 11 out
Oh
of
my God! You were in the house. You were out in the playroom. And you were just always wrestling. But you know, as you look back over all those years, there were many, many happy times in that house. And Joan will will say that along with me, and you have a lot of memories. So as I was doing, I just had a little something I thought I'd pass on.
Last time you did this, you absolutely broke her heart.
One of these photographs.
I'm gonna open this one. This one I'm gonna have
But
to
you
see.
guys are all a wonderful, wonderful family, and I love to see you, and the things that you said about you, Cliff, they're all right, every single one. Happy, happy birthday.
Just trying to think how Philip handled this moment about 4 months ago. He said he was the first one.
No, he had an Italian wetter that kept on saying, "Can I offer you some more tiramisu, sir?"
This, well, everybody's gonna have a chance to see this.
But you have,
This is a collage of our family. Connie, my mother, Eric, Timothy, and Chris. And Andrew, I'm sorry.
36 years old, I'm still the youngest.
and Madeline,
Let me just pass this around. Let me just pass
where
this
does Mr. Madeline?
Is Madeline? Only Aunt Jean could have come up with that collage.
Well,
With her wonderful, wonderful pictures.
I'm robbing my scrapbook, but that's where they belong. Travis, this is really nice. Stand with her. Oh, you look
I've got one thing too. This is very much on the silly side, but anyway, this is I mean, Clipper is quite a bit. Well, in fact, he's still very much older than I am. And of course, my
You got a bigger mortgage.
keep trying.
I'm glad about that.
David was, of course, the Niffin that I know best, and Clipper was always just. I mean, he was kind of, I don't know, just so much older. I mean, he was, I don't know what it was. He was always, I just couldn't, I couldn't relate. But anyway, this is, in trying to think of something memorable.
Or otherwise.
Or otherwise. I really had to scratch my head. But there was one event which just stick in my mind, and this gift will
Remind him of it.
well, Al may have to do some explaining, given it was
Something then clip is what the card says. Something then clip. So,
Something.
oh, tell me if I'm not doing this right now.
That's right.
Something then clip.
Just the fact you kept your eyes dry is remarkable.
open it up carefully.
Dad,
It's a,
remember when I was
very,
left, would you do that?
yeah.
Have you fed it in the last 3 hours?
Well, if unless the boot is dried, it's very delicate.
Should be very, very careful.
Now, I couldn't find a station wagon clip, but this was I'm going. Well, going up to 10 acres one time. We were in a station wagon, and Clip was driving and got in an accident. And this is the best I could do. That's David and I in the back screaming for our lives. Smashed up in front with Clip in the driver's seat.
The boys will get a kick out of that.
I'll never forget that.
Mom probably didn't know either.
And Callie will
And this says, this is the card. It says, Sleek is
Read the front.
for you on your birthday. It's a balloon with a tiger, a sleek and sporty Jaguar, Lots of the memory of an event a long, long, long time ago. You really are old. You're lucky it wasn't in a Jaguar. Wasn't the Jaguar. Wasn't Chalk the Lily. Very, very nice.
That's a shot.
We drove off the road to the.
That was with me.
That was.
Going from that
I know. I don't know.
I need to make an editorial comment here.
You'd just been put in the driver's seat. None of it was. You haven't
That was
driven
me.
too long, but
You
you
skied so hard.
you rear-ended someone.
That's
Skied so hard, to Philip's comment, and pushed me down that mountain so hard, Mad River, that you fell asleep on the way back to Stowe. A farmer pulled
I
me.
know. Farmer pulled us out of the field.
There's an editorial comment to be made here. First of all, the fact that you chose a Volkswagen is very appropriate because one of my earliest memories was at the intersection of Parade Hill and Route 123. Dad and Clipper rolled a Volkswagen.
Oh, yeah, no.
It was
Yeah, I
fun?
rolled.
Oh, I know that.
No.
Bob, put Clipper in. It works better as a story.
Let's not be, if there are no other,
One little short.
oh, I'm sorry.
Nice little short thing, I guess.
Anyone,
Very difficult to get out of this wonderful sofa, thank you. Thank you. As the mother of the lemonade, and we had many, many good times with Clifford. And the trips we took, I can think of Wyoming and Bermuda and Stowe.
Camp Seagull.
Camp Seagull, that drive. That funny, but always with Clipper, when Clipper was with us, we always had such a great time, and it was always a pleasure to me as a mother of Phil. It was just a treat to have Clipper along. They get their hijinks at times, of course.
You don't know about the windows broke in the basement.
Oh, I know those things. I let him mention that.
Now the truth is
I'm
finally come
not
out.
mentioning it. But anyway, it was a wonderful clip, and such a delight to be here and part of this wonderful, wonderful gathering. Would be complete without
Let the camera roll, Bob.
There's one individual, very important to Clippers, that couldn't be here tonight, who's in Los Angeles, who asked to speak to you all by the miracle videotape. And I don't have any comments other than,
Everybody know who this is?
They're not leaving with cake. Cake's not leaving.
Well, before everybody just
Get rid of us?
One's got no gas.
there are certain occasions when one has the opportunity to say something, and they don't always come that often. And obviously, this is one of them. But I thought about this and how beautifully Philip handled his 4 months ago, and I remember, for those who were not here, you saw Neil on the video here. He gave one of the most beautiful toasts that I've ever heard. He talked about friendship, how Phil and I Neil have been friends for 40 so years, even though we basically hardly ever went to school together. That's one amazing. We were at school together about 1 year out of our whole schooling. But I want to say, and I say this, I don't have Bob and David's sense of humor, or my son Eric's, but that, one of the things that comes out, as I think about this occasion, being 50 years old, the thing that comes out to me more than anything else is just plain, is thankfulness. And I have so much to be thankful for. I have so much to be thankful for in terms of my own family, my own brothers and sisters. I have such a beautiful and wonderful wife to be thankful for 20 wonderful years of marriage for this occasion, for my own children, and for, I got a good job, I got a nice house, we are very happy where we live, and I have just so much to be thankful for, and I don't know if there's any one thing, anything that I were to be able to say to other people is that I am a person that is very, very, very grateful for you, my Christian faith, my God, and all that we have been blessed with. And that is my greatest and strongest feeling, having had these 50 years and having had this kind of a family. And so many times, things haven't always been smooth, but things have so come together so beautifully, and there's no time that has been as great and as beautiful and as wonderful and as joyous as this time, and with our kids doing so well, and Joan here being part of our family, being so long, and Jean, who's known us from the beginning, and it's just been a great, great, great group to have together here. And so without getting too teary here, the other thing that I would want to say is, I really look forward to the next 10 or the next 20. I really do. I really do. We started a thing in our family about 2 or 3 years ago. We said at Thanksgiving time, I said, give one word that describes you as of this moment. And Eric said nonchalant, let's say, and Tim said sincere, and Andrew said popular, and all this, and Ellie's mother said at peace, and I said at Thanksgiving, I said confidence, and I really feel that probably more than I've ever felt before. I just really relish the opportunity to do things for my family, in our church, in my job, in our community, and I just really do, and I just relish that opportunity, and I just encourage all of us to feel that way. There's so many of us that have so much in common, and there's just so much to be thankful for and so much to do. And I just hope to pass that along and hope you can feel the same way, because we really have so much to be thankful for and so much that we've been blessed so much. So, with that somber note, but a wonderful, wonderful occasion, I just want to thank you for this, and this great, great time and great family we've had together. So, enjoy!